Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda. Jai Shri Radhe Govinda, Jai Shri Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jai Shri Gauranitai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Nandita Mataji, for the wonderful Kirtan. So, welcome everyone. I welcome everyone to the Bhakti Sadachar session number. I don't remember, but today's session we will be discussing about Vaishnava dress. Now, before starting the session, we will recite the Mangalacharan prayers. And I'll encourage everyone to recite with me. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvatam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvata Mansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जय पताका स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो आचार्य पादाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौर कथा धामधाय नगर ग्रामादितारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष वार्तदेहारिणे काञ्चन स्मृतयस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरमवेरी स्मृतिविहितं नमामितं जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चन्द्र जय गौरभक्तवृन्द मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिभ्यकृपातमां वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्येश्वरं हरि ओं तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So I hope all of you are very very blissful in bliss Krishna consciousness. So how many of you are chanting like even some rounds? Can you raise your hand? How many of you are chanting even one round or 4 rounds or 8 rounds? Okay, so I can see many hands not raised also. There are hands raised. Very nice to see that you are chanting. I'm asking starting of our class, like, because whatever we are discussing, whatever may be the Vaishnav Sadachar, Bhakti Sadachar, etiquettes and all, as we have already discussed in our first session, that all these things are subservient to the principle of always remembering Krishna and never forget Krishna. So whatever we are discussing, if that is not getting us closer to Krishna, then it has no value. So if you are really inspired by the class, then it's my request that first of all, please start chanting. And those who are chanting, it is very, very good that you all are chanting. And those who are not chanting, you can start chanting as soon as possible. And also those who are chanting, they can increase their rounds. Like every Ekadashi, you can have a check on your rounds, and you can increase some of your rounds like that. So it is said in Bhagavad Gita in 7th chapter, 1st verse, Maya Sattamanaha Partha Yogam Yunjam Madashaya Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yathayasya Sutashruno. So Krishna says that one who has developed attachment for me and who takes shelter unto me, they know me completely, free of any doubt. They know me completely and there is no doubt in this. You hear, O Arjuna, this is what I am saying, that one who has developed attachment for me and one who has taken shelter unto me, he know me completely. And in 4th chapter, 9th verse, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me devyam evam yo veti tatvata taktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, Krishna says that one who knows me, my divine appearance, disappearance, and my divine pastimes, if they understand, they will not take birth again in this material world. So it is very important that we develop attachment for Krishna. So whatever we are discussing in the class, whatever you are hearing, whatever you are doing, all those activities actually should increase attachment to Krishna. All those activities should increase our tendency to take shelter unto Krishna. Like there are some steps which leads to this attachment, out of which the first is Adoshrata. Like we have little faith on the process. We know, okay, if Krishna says, Man mana man mad bhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru, that always worship me, take shelter unto me, pay obeisances unto me. If Krishna says this, take my names, chant my names. If Krishna is saying this, so let me do it. Because I know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And whatever I have been told by the devotees, they're just telling what Prabhupada is saying. So let me follow this. So when we have this Shraddha, then what happened? We go to the next stage of Sadhu Sangha, when we take association of the devotees. So we associate with the like-minded people. Like it is said, no, that birds of the same feather, they flock together. Like if we want to advance spiritually and always take Krishna consciousness, then we should also associate with people who are practicing Krishna consciousness. So we take the association of devotees, we go to temples regularly, or we take online association, but somehow we get connected to the devotees, we hear from them. And yeah, so and once we associate, what we do, we hear from them. And what we hear from them? We hear from them about Krishna, Krishna Katha. So Krishna Katha is something which is about Krishna or which is said by Krishna. That is Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam is about Krishna. So So we hear from the devotees and also we chant. So that is bhajan kriya, third step. So chanting, all these things like Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha should lead us to chanting the holy name of Krishna, hearing about Krishna. And when we do so, the anarthas which are like weeds in our heart, they go away from our heart. So you will yourself experience how you are getting better and better every day. You will yourself feel that yes, those were the bad qualities which were within us, which was within me, but now because I have taken shelter of Krishna, I am practicing it. Those bad qualities are going and good qualities which was dormant, they are coming out. Like that you will feel practically. And then the fifth stage come, which is asakti, maya sakta manapartha. And Krishna says develop asakti for me. So, like I will request everyone that whoever is attending the class, like you please chant and like pay attention on your chanting. Are you chanting nicely or not? Even if you may face some problems regarding chanting, but still you chant, because Krishna and Krishna's name are not different. And yeah, like when we chant Krishna's name, it is like Cheto Darpana Marchanam. It cleanses the dirt in our heart. And when the dirt is cleaned, that heart becomes suitable for the residence of Krishna. So Krishna comes. So yeah, like whatever we are discussing, it should bring us closer to Krishna. It may be Vaishnava cleanliness, it may be Prasad Seva, it may be general etiquettes in temple or pranam or anything. If it is not getting us closer to Krishna, it is of no value. So we should take care of this, that we are coming Krishna, closer to Krishna day by day. We should take care of that. Okay. So we will start our session. I'll share my screen. I'm really sorry, I'm having a sore throat, because of which I'm not able to speak very loud. So I'm sorry for that. 1 minute. Okay. So today my net connection is a little unstable as it is showing. If you face any problem, then please let me know. So today's session, we are going to discuss about the Vaishnava dress and also the general etiquettes that you should follow while we are getting ready. But before that, there is a topic of Vaishnava recreation. Okay, so we'll read Prabhupada's quote on it. Someone can read this. You can raise your hand and then you can read.
May I, Mataji?
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. A person desiring to advance in spiritual understanding should be extremely careful to avoid reading ordinary literature. The world is full of ordinary literature that creates unnecessary agitation in the mind. Such literature, including newspapers, dramas, novels, and magazines, is factually not meant for advancement in spiritual knowledge. Anyone advancing in spiritual knowledge must reject such literature. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.13.7 purport. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here a very important principle is mentioned. Like when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we know that our goal is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Now, there is a law which is known as GIGO principle: good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. So, whatever you put in your consciousness, that will come out. So, whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, whatever we are doing, with whom we are associating, everything leaves an impression in our mind. And accordingly, our thought process unfolds. So like it is very important that we check on what we are doing, because whatever we are doing, that is leaving an impression. So Prabhupada is telling that like ordinary literatures, like we know that there are so many novels that talk about lusty things. They will put something lusty. which will agitate our mind. Now, if we go and read that, or there are newspapers in which mostly the news are who is murdered, who met accident, who is raped, who was shot dead, like those, or what are the political dramas. So a newspaper is always filled with some negative things. So if we take those negative impressions, what will happen? We will also develop negativity inside us. Like next verse we will read, next excerpt, that how Srila Prabhupada is telling that because we are in this human form of body, which is very, very rare. That too, we are in Kali Yuga, which is again have like in Kali Yuga, all the living entities have a very, very less lifespan. Like in Satya Yuga, the lifespan was 1 lakh years. Then in Treta Yuga, it came to 10,000 years. Then in Dwapar Yuga, it was 1,000 years. And now in Kali Yuga, it is not even 100 years. The average life expectancy is 60 or 70 years, like that, or 50. Like now it has even decreased. So having a human form of life with such a short life expectancy, we cannot waste our time. So Prabhupada is telling that we should not just indulge in reading all these ordinary literatures, because this is just going to agitate our mind and is not going to help us. It is not going to help us in remembering Krishna always and never forgetting Krishna, which is the goal of life. Okay, next, someone can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. But you will find that these boys, these American boys who have come to Kanha conscious, Krishna consciousness, they have kicked out newspaper. No more newspaper, because there is no Krishna Katha. They don't like to read it. This is the test. We do not know what is the happening daily. It does not matter. Newspaper, it is a waste of time. Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, yes. Bombay, November 12th, 1974. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. So we already discussed this, right? How? Because newspapers are full of negative news and it does not have Hari Katha. It does not have Krishna Katha. So whoever takes to Krishna consciousness, taking to Krishna consciousness means following some regulative principles. There are some positive regulative principles and some negative. So like positive are like chanting, reading, associating with devotees, taking prasadam, engaging in some seva. And negative are like no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. So when we follow these regulative principles, which is known as Vaidhi Bhakti, it is like we have taken to Krishna consciousness. Now, when we do this, automatically there will be purification, because Hari Nam Sankit, Golokera Premadhan, Hari Nam Sankitan. So Hari Nam is not an ordinary thing. It is directly descended from Goloka Vrindavan. So it is completely spiritual. So when we come in contact with that holy name, it purifies our heart. So when one start doing these things, he is purified. And when one is purified, he don't want to take negative inputs. He always want to read more of Krishna Katha, hear more of Krishna Katha, do more of Krishna service, like that. So this is what Prabhupada is telling. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna. Sometimes the movies that are demonstrated in the plane, I close my eyes. I do not like to see them because that impression carries. It is a very disturbing fact to me. Srila Prabhupada Conversation, January 21st, 1977, Bhubaneswar.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is telling, like, Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha devotee. He is a Vaikuntha man. He is not from this material world. And Prabhupada is telling that whenever he goes in a flight and they on the TV, he closes his eyes because he doesn't want to carry that impression. Whatever we see, that carries an impression in our mind. So it's very important that we choose what we are seeing, what we are reading, with whom we are associating. We check on these things and we try to take more of Krishna impression in us and less of material impression. Then we may think that this is very, very hard, but actually it is not very hard. Like when you start, actually the core is to chant and read. So when we start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we start reading Krishna book, when we start reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and all, and so many Prabhupada books are there, when we start associating with the devotees, when we start hearing from the authorized devotees, then what happens? Automatically, the purification will happen and we will become detached from those things. We will not find any pleasure in those things. So automatically, these things will happen. So first, we should think of doing things like chanting, reading, taking prasadam and all. And then gradually, automatically, these things will happen. We will automatically lose this. Like I can share my own personal example, how when I was small, like I got Krishna consciousness in my MBBS college. Before that, I was just living an ordinary life. So I was very fond of music, and I used to memorize. Like I will very. It was very easy for me to memorize any song, and I used to always win in Antarakshari and all. So I was very fond of hearing. But when I came to Krishna consciousness, like it was a habit for me. Like I will always hear to music, some cinema songs and all. But when I came to Krishna consciousness, it automatically happened. It didn't took any effort from my side. Automatically, I stopped listening to all mundane cinema music and I started listening to Vaishnava bhajans. They are so blissful. So, so it automatically happens. It will happen, but first we should concentrate on chanting and reading. Okay, so this is a very important exam. Someone can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Come on, dance with us. Is it not recreation? And when you get tired, take prasadam. Do you want more recreation than this? What is your answer? Is it not recreation? You go to ball dance and so many other dances, you pay for it, but we don't charge. So if you simply come and chant for recreation, it is very nice. Everything is there in Krishna consciousness. We want music, there is music. We want dancing, there is dancing. You can bring nice musical instruments, you can join. We distribute nice palatable dishes. So practically, this is a system of recreation only. Srila Prabhupada lecture, Bhagavad Gita 6.1, Los Angeles, February 13, 1969. Hare Krishna.
So when Prabhupada says that we should not watch movies or we should not read mundane literature, then many of us may think that there is no recreation. Like these things we used to do for recreation, but now because we are not doing, like this is very difficult to follow. We cannot do because we need recreation. Like in fact, Prabhupada also says that there is a fifth regulative principle that we should not very much engage in sporting activities. Like Prabhupada says that we have a very short lifespan, and in that short lifespan we have to do so much of work. Like attaining Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema is also not very easy. So we should not waste our time in unnecessary sports and all. Like if you want to sport, then you should always keep in your mind that in that also you should remember Krishna. If you're not able to do so, then you should not do so. Like active sports, you should not engage. So this question may come, then what about recreation? How we will have any kind of recreation? That is also necessary in our life. So Prabhupada is telling that is it not recreation what we are doing? Like even Guru Maharaj says that when we go to vacation, what we do? Like if someone has come from vacation and we ask them what you have done, and that person will tell that we went to a very nice place, we danced, we sang, we met with our friends, we ate nice food, we had a picnic time, and then we came. So Guru Maharaj was telling that we are also doing the same, right? Like we are also going to temple that is so beautiful. We are having darshan of so beautiful deities. We are chanting there. We are doing kirtan. We are dancing in front of the deities. And when we are tired of that, we go and have prasadam. We meet so wonderful people. We associate with them. So is it not recreation? This is also recreation, right? Have you ever felt this? If you have ever felt this, then please raise your hand that when you go to temple and you associate with devotees, chant, dance, and take prasadam, then you feel like recreation. Okay, so Ankita Mataji, Shilpaja, Ashok Prabhu, Sudha Mataji, they have raised their hand. No one else has such experience?
Oh, Mataji, they raised their hand to read actually. They can type in the chat or...
Yeah, no matter, Mataji, it is true. We have felt also.
Yeah. If someone has not felt, I will pray that you all feel this, because it is so blissful experience. Like no other experience can match this. Like when we go and Kirtan is going on and God Nita is in front and Jagannath Baldev Subhadra is in front and Radha Krishna Chandra, and we are dancing in association of devotees and aarti is going on. It is such a nice experience. So like we cannot imagine, we cannot even compare this with the mundane ball dance and all. So this is the way how we do recreation, how the devotees do recreation. It is much higher than the mundane people how they do recreation.
Sometimes, Mataji, it happens like when we are in Mandir association, in that program, sometimes we forget that we have a home, we have to go back to home. Even that we forget. It's my experience, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Mataji. Yes, it's true. Like we are so intoxicated in that blissfulness that we just want to stay in that blissfulness. We don't want to go. Like it is said that one who has tasted the bliss of Krishna consciousness, he can never return to the material grounds, because he will know always that this is far higher than what we're experiencing in ordinary world. Someone else also wants to share, like Shilpa Mataji.
Prabhuji, Ashok Prabhuji, you wanted to share?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Actually, when we go for, nowadays we are not having most of the bhajanas, but when we mostly we go for, for Shiva, Lord Shiva, and we used to stay entire night. And we don't, when we dance for normal songs, usually we get tired. But when we are following, when we are participating in kirtanas and bhajanas, even though we are dancing continuously for hours, we don't feel tired.
Yeah.
That is the best experience we can have when we go to temples.
Yeah,
And
this
in
is
front
very
of the
true.
deities. Yeah.
This is very true. And also, like, you will feel so very motivated after that.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Gita
is
Mataji wanted to share, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, just last Friday, I went to ISKCON in Delhi. And in Delhi right now, the temperatures are like as good as, touching 50 degrees. It's very hot, very humid. And I reached there around 12:30 when the temple was just about to close. And the kirtan was at its high swing just before closing. So I don't know what happened. Every time I do in all the temples, I went in and I started singing. And I started singing along with the kirtan so much that actually the kirtan guy stopped and I was the one who was singing. So, and everybody was actually looking at me, and then they also started their share of singing. So this was a very, very pleasant experience on my part that I had very recently.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mataji. Actually, like because we feel that soul to soul connection, right? We feel that our soul is getting, like, we are actually getting satisfied. We are searching for satisfaction here and there in this recreation park, in that movie, in I don't know, something else and all. But actually, we are never finding it. The only hankering in us is the spiritual atmosphere which we get in the temple, which we get in the association of devotees, in dancing, chanting, associating, taking such a sumptuous prasadam.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, before proceeding, we will discuss how, like, I've already told that this session is about the Vaishnava dress. Like, when we are in a uniform, do we feel more responsible? Like, these are, I think they are the commandos. So, when they are in the uniform, like, we feel more, do you feel more responsible when you are in the uniform? I just want to ask. Some of you can share your experience.
Yes, Mataji, it's quite natural.
Yeah, can you share any of your experience, Mataji, recently when you were in some uniform and you felt more responsible about it?
No, Mataji. I just remember my school uniform.
Yeah, so were you feeling like better when in going to school with school uniform? rather than going in a casual dress?
No, Mataji.
Mataji, again, I have one experience I can share during my school days when I was a part of the March parade. Basically, that was an annual affair, and it was a very, very gala event in our school in Delhi. And what used to happen, anybody who got selected for the march past, that feeling of elite and the superiority would come in, and we would walk in a particular manner all during the practice session and after practice session. That spirit of doing something extra normally would get in us.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Mataji. Yeah, so in March past also, if we are in a proper uniform and all, then we get a spirit, right? What you are telling is that if we are in a proper uniform, we get a spirit of doing it.
Yes.
Right, Mataji? Yeah, okay. Thank you for sharing, Mataji. Anyone else want to share their experience and when they were in a particular uniform, whatever you may be, and you felt more responsible, or what change it brought in your consciousness?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Actually, it's very long to remember about uniform, but I can talk about the formal dress instead of uniform. Even formal dress also is like uniform nowadays. So I can talk about it, and I can give an example that when we go to any office in a formal dress, we feel more responsible, and the way we speak, more respectful manner, and even our behavior also is suits to our profile.
Yeah.
And in for few days or some days we will go in a casual dress, jeans and t-shirts, right? And when we go to office in with a jeans and t-shirt, and the way of behavior changes, and even people also speaks differently, and that formality will not be there when they are speaking or behaving in the office or in the normal places. So that is the difference we can see when we are in a formal dress and casual.
So you are telling, Prabhuji, that uniform brings a change in your own consciousness as well as the way people see you and behaves with you, right?
Correct. Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing. Anyone else wants to share?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Whenever you wear a uniform, it kind of depicts that you are following some rules and you are adhering to something. So even at a workplace, when we wear a uniform, it's understood that we are following the cardinal rules. We are not breaking anything. We are, we are supposed to be doing some kind of a duty and working for a certain number of hours and things like that. So that gets us, like even when we see a Boy Scout uniform, we know how helpful they are, and what kind of things they have to do. So it kind of helps us to focus on what we are doing.
Yeah. So you are telling, Mataji, the same point, that how you have also felt that it brings a change in our consciousness and we become more responsible for what we are doing, right?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing. Okay, so I can see one more hand raised. I don't know if they want to speak. Okay.
Uday Shankar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna ji, this gives us, uniform gives a sense of pride. Your ego gets elated, especially when we are in uniform, you feel that responsibility, and then the ego and the pride, the ego gets enhanced. You have a lot of pride in the uniform, like whatever you are supposed to do. When without uniform, you don't have that feel of pride or ego satisfaction, like what the Maslow's hierarchy says.
Okay, so okay, Prabhuji, like ego is another thing, but like whatever you are telling, I can get that point, that you are also telling that it brings a change in our own consciousness and makes us more responsible and make us feel better in doing a particular work rather than we are not in a uniform, right? Am I right, Prabhuji? This is what you are telling? You
Yes,
like
Mataji, yes. when you are in uniform, you try to do something correctly.
Like, yeah, whatever you are doing, you feel more responsible for that and you do nicely, right?
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. So I'm very thankful for all those who have shared their experience. Actually, this is very important in our discussion right now. Like we have always seen, like even what the picture is portraying here, this is a queen who is coming. And you know, like because she is wearing aristocratic attire, anyone who will see, they will feel that yes, queen is coming, and she also feels like, yeah, I'm a queen, right? So yeah, these are just example. Like these are architects. When they wear that cap, they feel more responsible towards their work, and even others, they feel that yeah, they're architects, so we should respect them like that. Similarly, these lords, these are the healthcare workers, so they are dressed properly. These are the school children, how they when they wear, like ordinary, they may be playing here and there at home and breaking things and howling and all those things, but when they're in school and they're in front of the teacher in a particular uniform, they stand very nicely and do prayer, like they feel responsible. So there are so many examples like this. Actually, like this is a wedding example, how when someone's wedding is going to take place, they are ready in a different way, in a very gorgeous way, because that is a ceremony in which they like a ceremony, they dress themselves like in a ceremony. Similarly, a Vaishnava, when he dress in a particular way of a Vaishnava etiquette, then what happens? 2-3 things happen. One is that he become more focused on what he's doing. It changes his own consciousness. He becomes more conscious of what he is doing, and he becomes more responsible in what he is doing. And he also is always reminded of the purpose of life and purpose of what he is doing. At the same time, it has effect on the surrounding. Like whoever sees, like here we can see these are very senior devotees, Jananivas Prabhu and His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. They are the twin brothers who just they're from London, who gave their life for Prabhupada's mission. They came to Sridham Mayapur, and they were the head pujaris of the Mayapur temple. So whoever sees them, they also get so much motivated, and they also feel so much spiritualized, and they immediately remember Krishna, right? So one who is in a proper Vaishnava attire and etiquettes, like it has a very, very strong impact on their own consciousness and making them more responsible for what they are doing. And at the same time, it helps them in preaching and convincing others, because whoever sees them, immediately they remember Krishna. So this is what is done by the Vaishnava etiquette and Vaishnava dress. So like this is the what to say, just giving an outline, like what we are going to read about. If we know the significance, and it's become very easy to grasp. So it was just to give that that thing, like that outline. Okay, now we will read these quotes by Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. The saffron, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The saffron robes and the shaven head are not essential, although they create a good mental situation. Just as when a military man is dressed properly, he gets energy. He feels like a military man. Does that mean that unless he is in uniform, he cannot fight? No. In the same way, God consciousness cannot be checked. It can be received in any circumstances, but certain conditions are helpful. Therefore, we prescribe that you live in a certain way, dress in a certain way, eat in a certain way, and so on. Srila Prabhupada Conversation, October 8, 1975, double. Hare Krishna. Thank you again.
So, like as we have already discussed, that whatever we wear and the way we dress ourselves has an impact in our own consciousness, and you all have also shared these same points, and it has an impact on how people see to us and how people take the things. Now Prabhupada is saying, like what we've already discussed also, that all these rules and regulations are subservient of the principle that we always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, and we work for Krishna. Like when it is said that books are the basis, utility is the principle, purity is the force, and preaching is the essence. The end is that preaching is the essence. So Srila Prabhupada is telling that, yeah, in the same, certain conditions are helpful. Like when we wear a Vaishnava attire, we dress up like a Vaishnava, they are very, very helpful. And like the way we live and the way we eat and all, the dress and all, everything is very, very helpful. But if it is required, if for preaching, like if in some particular situation, if it is required that we wear some another dress, then it is not a contradiction. So Prabhupada is telling that how, like a military man, if he's dressed properly, definitely he feels more responsible. But it doesn't mean that if he's not dressed, he cannot fight. Similarly, so consciousness is the key. Consciousness is very, very important. So it's not like there. It is a two-way thing. First is that some people may think that if I will wear a dhoti or a sari and wear a tilak and kanti and all, then I'm a devotee. No, it is not it is not that way. Like, first of all, the consciousness should be right. That's why reading, hearing, chanting and all, associating, all these things are so very important. So just by having an outward appearance, nothing is going to happen. Consciousness is very, very important. So this is the one part of the story. And the other part is, if it is required, like we should always wear like a Vaishnava. We should dress up like a Vaishnava. It is very, very helpful. But if it is required in some part of preaching, then it is not a hard and fast rule. We can change our dress and go to the place if it is required. Like I remember one story when Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he went to Srila Prabhupada has given him the responsibility of preaching in China. And China that time was a communist country. It was a very tough country to preach. So at that time, like Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was told by Srila Prabhupada to go in a perfect gentleman like if he will go in our robes and that saffron robes and all, then people may not take his words very seriously. But if we go like an American gentleman and talk to them, to the university students, then they will take things seriously. So Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, although he was a sannyasi, he went like a gentleman, American gentleman, and he preached there, and actually he was very, very successful. So Vaishnava dress is very important, but at the same time, if it's required, we can change it because consciousness is above everything. So this is the quote. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The foolish rascals, they say that what is the necessary of this, that? No, this is necessity. You must always remain dressed like a Vaishnava. That is necessity. So Preknaya is very beautiful to see. Otherwise, how they became impressed. Srila Prabhupada lecture, October 29, 1975, Nairobi.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is also telling that it is a necessity that we should always be dressed like a Vaishnava. Like when the last excerpt which we read, it was only in certain conditions where we are giving, like we think that, okay, for preaching that is more important. But generally, if we dress like a Vaishnava, automatically when others look at us, they remember Krishna. And they are also very, very impressed by our cleanliness, by the way we speak, by the way we talk, we run, we walk, and everything, we dress and everything. They like the cleanliness. So like others are really impressed by a Vaishnava. So it is a necessity because it for our own consciousness as well as for the purpose of preaching. But at the same time, if required, we can change here. It depends upon the time, place, and circumstances. But it should not be like always that this time we cannot dress like this, or that place we cannot dress. No, we should always dress. Only for the sake of preaching we can change. That too because we are doing it for the sake of Krishna's service. It is not just for our own convenience. We are doing that for the sake of Krishna's service. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Regarding dress, I have already written to you that you can dress as smartly as possible to deal with the public. And dress is immaterial in Krishna consciousness. Consciousness is within. I am a sannyasi, but if some important work requires, I dress myself just like a small gentleman. I would immediately accept it. So it's not a problem. Prabhupada's letter to Gopala Krishna, Hamburg, 3rd September 1969. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So when Prabhupada is telling if it is required, he's telling if it is required for preaching. It is not just required for my convenience. Okay, here I am little shy, so I don't want, or here I am comfortable in the temple, so I will. It is not like that. It is for preaching. So like generally it is said that if at all we are not able to wear dhoti everywhere or sari everywhere, but something should always be there if we are a Vaishnava. Like tilak, we should always put, always, wherever we are going, we should always put a tilak, we should always wear a kanti, wherever we are going. And boys, like they should always have a shaven head with a shikha. So this is said that maybe like other things we may change, but these are certain things which we should always have as a Vaishnava, tilak, beads, shikha and all, because whoever sees us, they immediately remember Krishna. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna. From the instructions given to King Parudra by Sarvabhauma Bhaumacharya, we can understand that we may change our dress in any way to facilitate our service. When our members change their dress to meet the public or to introduce our books, they are not breaking the devotional principles. The real principle is to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, and if one has to change into regular Western dress for this purpose, there should be no objection. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 14.5. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is telling that we can do these things. We can change the dress for the sake of preaching. Like I also remember that there was a letter to Kirtana, like Damodar Prabhu, where Prabhupada was mentioning that one of the sannyasis, he was telling that there is no need of wearing saffron robes and having a shikha. You can just stay like that. So Prabhupada said that I have never said like this. You should do. That is very, very nice. By that only people are impressed. Our consciousness is purified. I have never told these things. Okay, you can change for the purpose of preaching, but it's not just that you make a rule. Being in a Vaishnava etiquette is very, very important. But for the sake of preaching, we can do like that. But it's not that we just give up the Vaishnava dress and all. So all these quotes, they are telling us that the principle of preaching is the essence, holds first. So whatever is required for preaching, we do. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna. In our Krishna consciousness movement, the tactic of dressing oneself, if like an ordinary karmi, is necessary because everyone in the demoniac kingdom is against the Vaishnava teachings. Yet, the preachers of Krishna conscious must go forward in the Vaishnava dress or any other dress for the purpose of preaching. Chaitanya Chanakya Pandit says that if an honest person deals with a great cheater, it is necessary for him to become a cheater also, not for the purpose of cheating, but to make his preaching successful. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.7 purport. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is telling that the same principle that the main essence is to preach. Utility is the principle. Whatever we have, utilize in preaching. Books are the basis. Whatever we preach is coming from Srila Prabhupada books. Purity is the force. If we are doing our sadhana nicely, we can preach, and ultimately preaching is the essence. So for preaching, we can change, because some people, they don't like to meet also Vaishnavas. Whenever, like some people, because they are so very demoniac that they don't want to see also Vaishnavas. But because devotees are so very merciful that they just want to give the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone, they approach everyone. So for the sake of preaching, they can wear the Vaishnava dress or other dress. But again, tilak, Kanti and all, these are like a must. Shikha and all, these are the must. This we will read also in further course. Prabhupada is only told. Okay, in my opinion, clean-shaved brahmacharis and grihasthas in saffron robes look like angels from Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada liked everyone in Vaishnava attire very, very much. In fact, Prabhupada always encouraged everyone to wear a dhoti and women to wear a sari and put a tilak and kanti and beads and all. Prabhupada liked that very, very much. And Prabhupada is told that all these brahmacharis and grihasthas in saffron robes, they look like angels from Vaikuntha. So this is something which immediately brings us in mode of goodness. And from mode of goodness, going to the transcendental state, that is in Krishna consciousness, is very, very easy. Okay, now the next section is about the tilak. But I think we should stop here and we will discuss this in the class. If anyone has any question or anything to share, then please do.
Hello.
Hey Krishna.
Mataji, yeah. I have a query on regarding Toli Ekadashi, Mataji. Actually, on Ekadashi, it is very very dearest day to the Krishna. So if we are in fasting, so is there anything we can have like fruits or something, or it is like completely no? We have should not take anything during the day.
Prabhuji, yeah, I can understand your question. So Ekadashi is done in like there are different standards. One is Nirjala, where you cannot take even one who is observing, the devotee doesn't take even water. Then second level is Sajal, when you do on water, Sajal. And third is Safal, when you take fruits also. You can take fruits also along with water and all. Then comes the Ekadashi Prasad, like we take sabudana or the shama rice or potatoes and all. So there are different levels of fasting. So whatever you are doing, then you break the fast which you have not taken. Like if you're doing Nirjal, you break the fast with water. If you're doing Sajal, then you break the fast with fruits. If you're on fruits, you break the fast with Anna Prasadam. Like even if you're on the, that if you're taking sabudana and all, you break the fast with Anna Prasadam, like that. So there are different levels. Prabhupada always told that we can take anything, but important is not grains, but we can take fruits and sabudana and everything we can take. But important is that on the day of Ekadashi, we engage more in chanting and hearing and doing more service to Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. And what is the time, Mataji? What is the time for breaking the fast? Is there any specific time, or after sunset we have to break?
That is a Paran time, Prabhu. No. Whole day will be fasting, Prabhuji. Like Ekadashi day, it will start from the Brahmahut to the next day Paran time. Like you can download Vaishnava calendar app. There, in that app, if you will add your location, it will give the Paran time of your location every Ekadashi. It will give notification also. So in that Paran time only, we should break the fast.
Okay, Mataji. What is the app, Mataji? App name?
It is a Vaishnava calendar app. Maybe we can share in the group.
Okay. Yes, Mataji. And we also, Prabhuji, we also share the list of times in various locations, the fast breaking time in the group.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Mataji, there's a question in the chat. May I know the significance of Shika?
Shika, okay, actually we will discuss this in the next class. Shika, actually it denotes that how okay, we'll discuss this in the next class. It is there in the slides, Mataji. We will discuss in the next class. It is actually the dependence on Krishna. It denotes, it has a significance. It is a part of our presentation. We will discuss. Anyone else has any question or any comments?
Nothing in the chat, Mataji.
Okay. Anyways, we have not discussed many things today. Next class, we will discuss about the significance of tilak, the kanti, the Vaishnava dress, and all. We will discuss in the next class. Okay. So I hope everyone will chant more and also read Srila Prabhupada books, because reading is very important, very, very important. The more we read, there is more purification. So, okay, so we will end. Thank you so much for joining and giving your attention. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat.